I think this is a good time in the semester to front load you with the information that you're going to need for the research requirements for the second and third speeches. There are research requirements for both of those. Specifically, I'm requiring you to provide peer-reviewed academic journal articles as evidence for any claims that you make within your presentations. One of the reasons why we provide sources when we are speaking is because at this point in your academic careers, you are not considered to be subject matter experts. So what that means is that if you're making a claim within your presentation, you need to find ways to add weight to your voice. This is done commonly in the professional world, and even if you are a subject matter expert, it's a great way to add more credibility to whatever it is that you're talking about as you're presenting to an audience. For this class, I require that you use peer-reviewed academic journal articles that will be accessed through the library databases, and you can do this all online from the convenience of your own home. If you are not familiar as to how to use these databases, contact the library, the school library, and they will point you to tutorials and videos as to how to access and search within those databases. So again, we provide sources so that we are seen as more credible by our audience. The reason why we use peer-reviewed academic journal articles is because in the academic world, those are considered to be the gold standard of sources. I want to introduce you to this notion of relative credibility. I think we all want to be taken seriously, and how we establish that credibility, it's dependent upon the context or the situation. So here's an example. Maybe there are some of you that are fishermen. I'm a fisherman when I get a chance. So let's just say you and I are out on my little 16-foot aluminum boat in the middle of, there's a lake up by Jackson in California. It's called Lake Amador. It's a private lake. They have a fish hatchery there. And you know, if you go there during the right times of the year, the trout are so thick you could drive a truck over the top of them. So we're out there smoking and joking, or whatever it is that folks do when they're out fishing, and you look over at me and you say, you know, Captain Bob, according to my Aunt Sally, who's been fishing this lake for 30 years, and Bassmaster magazine, the best bait for the largemouth bass on this lake this time of the year is the purple rubber worm. Now, contextually, for that situation, you know, Bassmaster magazine and Aunt Sally, those are perfectly credible sources. However, in the academic world, when you're presenting, let's just say at an academic conference to some of your colleagues, if you were to cite Bassmaster magazine and Aunt Sally, you'd probably get laughed at if people didn't get up and just start walking out. Again, in the academic world, we are all so full of ourselves that we really only want to hear other voices from the academy, other academics, specialists within our disciplines. What we do is we go to a lot of trouble. We do our own primary research, original research, and we submit it to legitimate peer-reviewed academic journals. And that peer review process, it's very, very painful. So let's just say you're an academic and you are interested in some human behavior phenomenon, and you do 3 years worth of research. You do another year actually writing up the article, and then you submit it. What happens is the journal receives the submission, and they may have it for months, and it is reviewed by several subject matter experts, generally PhDs within your field, to make sure that your numbers are right, your research methodology is correct, and then you're making sense with your writing. And so what will happen is maybe after a few months you get it back, and there's 3 reviewers. 2 of them think that it's spectacular, but one of them has a problem with some part of it. So they say, okay, we think that this is good for our journal, but you need to make a few changes. So you make those few changes, you send it back, and now maybe you've satisfied that reviewer that was complaining about something, but maybe one of the other reviewers isn't happy with it. So you got to resubmit it again. Really, the idea here is that after this sort of painstaking process, you have a piece of work that's legitimate. I mean, it's seen as credible. It's been vetted and reviewed by subject matter experts. This is not the case with other publications such as magazines for the general public or even newspapers, and certainly not the internet. So for your sources in this class, I am absolutely precluding the use of the visible web. So precluding means you can't use it. Visible web means that it's something that anybody with a magic box, that's a computer, and internet access can get to, because anybody can throw anything out on the internet and claim any kind of stuff without backing it up or it being legit. So those are the research requirements for the course. For the informative speech, you're required to provide 3. For the persuasive speech, you're required to provide 4. And then per the syllabus, they will be cited in proper APA format. Now, a proper APA format, you need to have a data source by you when you're writing before you submit stuff to make sure that your stuff is formatted properly. You will cite your sources 3 times. 1, orally. So when you're speaking, you'll say, according to so-and-so in 2011, black hats are better than red. I don't know. So that's the oral citation. Now, when I'm reviewing your speech, I'm going to look down at your outline and I'm going to make sure that you have cited it in proper in-text form, in APA format, on your outline. And then the third place I'm going to look is going to be on the works cited page. So you will be citing things 3 times. The APA style guide is the gold standard for checking your sources. However, 2 other places you can go to get information about a proper APA citation is the library, the school library online. They'll have resources for you. And also you'll find that they refer students to the OWL at Purdue, which is, you can Google that in. Purdue University has a writing lab. So again, you will be providing research cited properly in your speeches, and you'll need to learn how to access the library databases to get this information. All right.